Have you been dealing with very difficult parents all of your life? They have toxic traits, they are controlling, manipulative, they play victim, take up all the air in the room because they need all of the attention, or they just completely ignore and neglect anything you need, especially when it's emotionally. Then you may have narcissistic or toxic parents. In today's 12 days before Christmas video, I want to talk about having narcissistic or toxic parents in the Christmas season and how difficult that can be, and the things that you have to do to make sure that you protect yourself. Because regardless of what you try and do, it's almost impossible to change your parents' behavior. The only thing you can do, and that is in your control, is controlling yourself. So in today's 12 days before Christmas video, we are going to talk about how to deal with toxic parents in the Christmas season. Hi, my name is Malish Jogiat. I am a coach and I help people understand narcissistic abuse and walk them through how to escape these relationships safely. But in this series of 12 days before Christmas, I'm covering the different types of things we might deal with before Christmas and during the Christmas season, and how to walk through them to make sure that we have the best Christmas we've ever had. So, you have toxic parents, you're pretty sure they are the kind of people who literally want to be the center of the world. But I'm going to discuss three types of toxic parents. The first one is a vulnerable narcissist, the one who plays the victim in every situation, who needs everybody to feel sorry for them because things have never gone their way. They don't get the attention that they deserve, they don't get all of the money that they deserved, and everything they've ever tried didn't work the way that they wanted. And they essentially are the eternal victims of their own existence. And no matter what you do as their child, you can never be enough to fill this void. But they will use you to emotionally band-aid them when they are in victim mode. Because essentially, you are their parent. Your job and your role in this relationship is to emotionally support the parent, when in reality, it's supposed to be the other way around. You see, our parents are supposed to be emotionally mature enough to be able to hold space for us and be physically and emotionally present when we need them most. But vulnerable narcissists find this an impossible task because any place that they need to be where they have to give back to someone is the worst thing that you could ever do to them. Because as victims, everything in their lives needs to be about them. And how bad you need to feel that you aren't being the absolute perfect child, no matter how hard you work or try to please them. And then we have the grandiose narcissist. This parent is the one who takes up all the air in the room. When you achieve something, it's about them. You can't celebrate any good events in your life because those events need to be about them, whether they create an argument and find a way to pat themselves on the back for your achievements. Because essentially, they raised you and you only get these things because they exist. Everything you do is never acknowledged because it doesn't matter what event you're having, if it's Christmas lunch or if it's New Year's Eve. You need to recognize that they are the ones who need to be focused on all of the time. They're the ones having the most conversations, the funniest person in the room. And if anybody else becomes the center of attention at any moment, they will find a way to draw attention away from that person so that you can focus all your attention back on them. And a lot of the time, that means degrading and devaluing the person whose attention was, who everyone was focused on first. The other thing that they do is they have a tendency to brag about the child that is doing really well, the golden child, and then spoiling them. And then the scapegoat child is the one who gets less of everything, less attention, less gifts, less money. And that is the child that has to double down on trying to get more attention. And in the background, what they're doing is devaluing all of their children, telling them that they are not good enough, ignoring their emotional needs, telling them they need to achieve harder, and at the same time putting these children against each other to create division within the family. Then we have the third kind I'm going to talk about today, which is the neglectful parent. These toxic parents are the ones who are like drones. They barely move. They don't respond to any emotional needs. They don't respond to any physical needs. And if anything serious happens that requires action, their go-to move is inaction. They become completely solid, silent, and do not respond to anything that is needed from them, because as far as they're concerned, you don't need anything from them. You've learned from childhood that any emotional needs, any physical needs are not going to be met by this parent, because what they have a tendency to do is find a way to simply just make it about them and then never respond to anything else or ever again. Right? So when you have to deal with these parents over the Christmas season, it can get a little bit difficult, because our culture teaches us that it is a respectful thing to spend time with family in seasons like this. When in reality, if you have toxic family members, you should not even be spending time around them for your own health, your physical health. Because living with these people from childhood does over time make you physically sick. But I'm going to give you a few ways on how to deal with them if you need to be in their presence. So, number one, do not walk in the door with any expectations. All your expectations are bound to fail. And the reason for this is you're not going there to spend wholesome time with family. Your vulnerable narcissistic parent is going to find some way to make themselves the victim in everything that has happened. The food hasn't gone well. They haven't gotten the gifts they wanted. They didn't get the attention that they needed. And somehow create some sort of drama to make themselves the victim once again. If you go in there with any expectation to celebrate things that you've done this year, or to just celebrate Christmas, or to shower them with gifts, you're not going to get the response you are expecting. You need to go in there knowing full well that you are dealing with adults who have not grown out of their childhood behavior, and you need to deal with them as such. A child who throws a tantrum, the only way to deal with it is not respond to the tantrum. Then when the grandiose parent, they want to be the center of attention for everything, want to talk to everyone, want everyone to pay attention to all the wonderful things that they've ever done and the things that they are saying. Let them. At some point, they probably will insult or devalue you. Don't give them the satisfaction of getting upset. You know good and well how this has always gone, and it's not going to change. What needs to change is the way that you respond to it. So, the second thing that you need to do when you go in there is have backup. Never go into these toxic family systems and events by yourself. You know well enough that by now you probably have the toxic parent, the enabling parent, and then probably a sibling or two who is going to take either of those parents' side. So if anything stirs up, you are on your own. Don't fall for that trap. Make sure you've got a backup and a quick exit plan so that you don't have to stick around when the devaluation, the insults, and all of the toxic behaviors start to swirl in the room. You deserve to make sure that you are protected. So someone who knows what's going on from outside of the family system, who knows how to stand by you and will help you get out of the room as soon as possible. Have a plan ahead of time to make sure you can do that. Be prepared for that, right? Always have your backup person. And then number 3, don't spend unnecessary money on big, amazing gifts, because essentially you're not going to be seen. The gifts matter only because these people like to be spoiled. They like to seem like they are the only person in the world at all times. So any gift that you buy them, it doesn't matter what it costs, is not going to get you the attention that you want. The best thing you can do for yourself is budget something reasonable and then take whatever flack you get from them, because essentially you deserve to gift yourself for dealing with them for all of these years, instead of spoiling someone who is just going to find a way to make the gift about them or tell you how crappy your gift is in the first place. And then the fourth thing I'm going to advise you, if you know that it's probably going to be really stressful, you're going to be emotionally drained, you're going to have ruminating thoughts for weeks after having a Christmas lunch or a New Year's Eve supper or something with a family, that the best move may be not to go at all. And I know this is a very difficult thing to talk about when it comes to our parents, because we are told that the only way we respect our parents is by doing what it is they want, but that's not how it is. You can love someone from a distance and you have permission to do that. But toxic parents don't deserve your presence if they continually use and abuse you while you're with them. And they'll get mad and they'll find a way to victimize themselves and complain to everybody and go to the church people and say, my child did this and my child didn't show up. And am I such a bad parent? Let them talk. At the end of the day, your peace matters more than the drama you've experienced over the years. And you need to make a choice in that moment whether you're willing to subject yourself to further harm or just have an amazing Christmas without having to deal with any of the toxicity. So I hope that these tips helped you. I know it's very difficult to really think about our families and the way that they really function, but at some point you have to decide to do that, because more than your emotional and mental health, your physical health is impacted by these constant cycles created by toxic family systems, and you literally deserve better. So as I've said in every other video, in these 12 days before Christmas videos, I am asking you to like, share, comment, engage as much as you can, because at the end of the series I'm going to be giving 5 people my book Witness Me, the electronic version, just to say thank you for being so generous in sharing my content. And then also, if you go down in the description, there are a couple of links for a few freebies, and you have access to my website with everything it is that I do. And just remember, you are seen. It doesn't matter what other people are saying. But for those of us who experience this with family systems, who don't have anybody to talk to, this is a safe space. So I understand your plight, and I really want to help walk you through what it is you're experiencing around your family in this season, because in this season it can get really, really bad. So don't forget to share the video, and I'll see you tomorrow for another 12 days before Christmas.